I'm El Director, this is El Director Vision, and you're watching another vlog update for Leap Revelation. Today we talk about cameras. Almost 5 years ago, this camera was released on the market. This is the Canon Rebel T2i, or EOS 550D, and we bought this thing to shoot Leap Rise of the Beast with in the summer of 2010. The camera was brand spanking new, and we didn't have money for anything much more than the camera at that point. So we bought the camera with just the kit lens, and I bought like a little $10 rubber lens hood off of eBay for this thing to help block out the sun, and as you can see I've just pulled it off now. This camera has definitely seen better days. Let's screw this back on. Now the reason why we went with this camera was a few reasons. One, I wanted Rise of the Beast to be in high definition. Two, I wanted to shoot at 24 frames a second. And three, I wanted some shallow depth of field. I wanted a more filmic look than what I currently had before. And this camera proved to be the answer to that. The sensor size in it is called APS-C, and that means that that sensor is actually the same size as motion picture 35mm film. That basically the same stuff that Hollywood movies were shot at before they started switching over to digital. Everyone says, oh, you should get a full frame camera. It's like, I don't want a full frame camera because that's actually bigger than what most movies are shot at, and I wanted to match the Hollywood look as close as possible. So I knew I wanted APS-C, and this happened to be the most affordable one of the bunch. At the time, we bought this camera for $800. This was definitely the biggest purchase we've ever made for a movie of this nature. So pretty cool. In fact, this is actually still kitted out exactly the way it was when we shot that movie. Just the kit lens, the rubber lens hood, no magic lantern. Magic lantern didn't come out until my last day of shooting, and I did roll with it that day, but it was still pretty buggy, but I was just like, wow, I have crop marks on the screen, because at the time I'd taken a magic marker and drawn across my lens protector, or my screen protector, my 240 lines and such. And about halfway through production, I got tired of wearing a big black shirt over my head to see the screen in broad daylight, so I actually made a viewfinder for the back of it, using a little credit card magnifying glass, some cardboard, and lots of electrical tape. I even made the eyepiece out of electrical tape. Of course now, I've gone ahead and I've bought them, and they just snap on with magnets, and these are really, really cool. I like these a lot. They block out the sunlight and magnify the screen, helping you with focus, which is great. This is actually also the tripod we had for the film. I really want to show you guys this, because if you want to see true low budget in action, this camera is where that's at. So, first mode is what I call chase mode, or the steady pod. And this is just me grabbing it by two legs, flipping the camera up, and using this as some counterbalance. It makes the camera bigger and heavier, because a bigger camera, a Hollywood camera, moves differently than a handheld independent camera. So most no-budget filmmakers are running around trying to chase people with just the camera, and the camera's going all over the place. You make the thing big and heavy like this, boom, suddenly it's going to move a lot smoother now. And so I could chase my actors on rollerblades, I could run after them this way. The other thing that's really nice about working with the camera this way is that if I need to turn, my body becomes the pivot point and the camera's out in front of it. As you can see if I do this. And what that means is that's actually going to reduce rolling shutter. A lot of people don't realize this, but if you keep the sensor plane, and there's a mark on the camera where that is, if you keep that out in front of the pivot point, it greatly reduces rolling shutter, which is one of the major problems with these cameras. The other thing I would do with this camera, or with this tripod, squeeze the legs in, flip this up, and boom! Now I've got a shoulder rig. Twist it a little bit like this, and that's why I put the foam pads on the legs of this thing, is so I could actually use this as a shoulder rig, and we shot, I would say, probably 90% of the movie this way. It just worked out really well, except if I wanted to back up, and you run into somebody behind you. So definitely still had its flaws, but this worked out quite well. So as I've been gearing up now to shoot Leap Revelation, I've been slowly buying gear over the years. I bought like the cage that this other camera's mounted in right now. So that's what we shot Rise of the Beast with. This time around, we're upgrading a little bit. Over the past 5 years, I've actually gone ahead and I've bought like the cage that you see here. It's a shoulder rig with a matte box and the cage itself. I've got a slider, I've got some light kits, I've got one of the lights right here, which is off right now. I've got some reflectors, so I've slowly been acquiring gear over the course of getting ready for this production. However, one of the things I was holding off on was purchasing a camera. I would love to be able to shoot this movie on a C300. I love the look of them. I like just everything about that camera. It's not 4K because I'm pretty anti-4K. It's not RAW, and I'm anti-RAW. So it's the perfect camera for you know, a filmmaker like me that just wants to pull his card out of the camera, stick it in the edit bay, do the editing, do his effects, and you know, then be able to color grade it as well, and have a picture style that gives you some latitude for the color grade without having it be raw to begin with, where everything just becomes a big nightmare. So I love the C300. If anyone wants to donate to the movie, that would be awesome. But I realized that that's probably not going to happen. And so I thought, well, we'll keep shooting on the T2i, the one we shot the last movie with. One problem, though, is that this camera is now 5 years old, and it has been my workhorse. I've put this I've put this camera through its paces like nobody's business. The rubber's falling off here on the side. The camera takes about 10 seconds when you hit record before it's ready to record. Otherwise, the buffer gets full, and then you're hosed at that point. And I thought, man, that's just not going to be very reliable. I have, however, learned this camera inside and out. I know how to make this thing just make beautiful images. You can check out a video I did for my friend Hope. You can check that out right here. I did a video for my friend Laura. You can check that out right here. We shot Becoming Born, which you can check out right here, which is really cool because it's kind of in the same vein of Leap, Rise of the Beast, you know, with the Jason Bourne-esque kind of feel to it all. But this looks a lot better than Rise of the Beast, which you haven't seen, you can watch by clicking right over here. So, boom. So check those out for examples of some of the work I've done with this camera, and you can definitely see a progression over the years as I've gotten better and better and learned which picture styles to use. And no, it's not Technicolor. I hate the Technicolor picture style. Don't use that one. You know, you learn the settings. We put Magic Lantern on there, and it just really has done awesome for us. Because I know the camera so well, I thought, hey, I should try to find another, you know, Canon Rebel. Especially a T2i would be great because I don't like the flip screens on the newer ones. And I especially don't like the touchscreens because I just hate fingerprints all over my screens. And I know if I had a touchscreen on set, actors and people that wanted to see the camera are going to be tempted to poke the thing, and I don't want that happening. So I didn't want the touchscreen, I didn't want the flip screen because I like shooting with these viewfinders, and with the flip screens there's a better chance of it snapping off. So I said, well, I'd like to get a T2i. As it just so happens, a guy I work with actually had bought one about the same time I bought mine, but it's hardly been used. It's practically brand new, very low shutter count, and it still works a lot better than mine does, and he sold it to me for a very, very, very good price, which I thought is great because now that allows me to take my money and rather than putting it towards a new camera, I can actually now try to save up and pay for the actors for this film, because that's my goal this time, is I want to pay for the actors so we can shoot the movie in about a month and a half and not have to worry about trying to shoot the thing just on weekends or work around everyone else's schedules. If I pay the people, then they can work around my schedule and we can get the movie done a lot faster, and it really is just going to be the best way to go. So this is what we're rocking now. This is the new T2i that I got from the guy I work with. I've already put the viewfinder on the back of it, and this is my new shoulder rig that I bought, about 6, 7, 8 months ago as well. So we'll show you how this works here. You'll see it actually is a lot better than trying to use the shoulder rig over here. So with the eyepiece on, boom, and I'm all set, and action! And this is just, it makes it a nice big camera, because this is a small camera and it makes it a lot larger, so it moves like a Hollywood camera. If I don't want the eyepiece, I can pull it off, do it this way, come back in with the eyepiece, pull it away. It's a fantastic little rig. I love it. This has got a 5-pound counterweight on the back. The entire thing I'd say is close to about 15 pounds right now. A lot of this is metal, the construction on it, so it gives it a lot of heft and a lot of weight. And this is just going to be so awesome now on Leap 3. The other thing I like is because it's a cage, it's got the top handle on it, so I can get some lower angle shots like this. I can work it like this if I want to, throw away the other camera in the process. Shoulder pad comes off, really allowing me to go handheld with this thing. Just works out fantastic. Let me put this back on here. Boom. And stick the eyepiece back on so we don't lose that. Boom, and there we go. So this is the camera for Leap Revelation. This is now going to be our A camera, this will be our B camera, and occasionally I may run 2 cameras at once, but probably not likely. Most of the time I like just shooting with 1 camera. It's easier for me as an editor. If I do need to switch cameras, which is really cool, boom, pop out my memory card, come over to the other one, stick it in, All my files are going to be right there in the same place. All my Magic Lantern settings from the shot before are going to be right there. It's just going to make things a whole lot easier now this way, because both cameras are going to be running the same version of Magic Lantern. They're going to have the same picture styles on them. These things are going to be set up identically, and then all I have to do is pop the card from one to the next, and I'm good to roll. Well, that's really all I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I don't think I've missed anything on these two. If you've got any questions for me, leave them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have about the camera rigs. And if I missed anything about why I'm still shooting with the T2i, again, I want to pay my actors. I know I can get a decent image out of the camera. I know its limitations and how to work around them. And, you know, it's going to help kind of tie the two movies in a little bit more too. It's kind of like with the new Star Wars movie. J.J. Abrams is shooting it on film because that's what the old Star Wars were shot on. He wants to tie it into the original trilogy. And I think artistic choices like that are kind of cool. So for me, there's also a little bit of an artistic choice here, wanting to shoot with the same sensor I shot Rise of the Beast with. And so the movie, although it's going to look very different, will still have a very similar feel to it. And that's kind of what I'm going for there. So that's all I got. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you next time right here on L Director Vision as we go about making Leap Revelation.